Alright, time for another weekly reading update. This week I finished one book and started another, so not a huge week in terms of quantity, but definitely some interesting stuff to talk about. First up, I finished Even of Ephes by Lewis McMaster Bujold, which is the third Verkoosken book in publication order. And this one kind of surprised me in a good way. It's a lot more self-contained than the previous books, and it actually feels smaller in scope. But I actually think that works really well here. The whole story is built around this one central idea, an all-male planet where women basically don't exist, and reproduction is handled artificially. So the main character, Ethan, has grown up in this completely isolated environment. And then, for plot reasons, he has to leave that planet and interact with the wider galaxy, which of course includes women. And that's where a lot of the humor comes from. It's not over the top or anything, but just the way he reacts to things, how uncomfortable and confused he is, it creates a lot of really fun moments. And you can tell he's completely out of his depth. And it feels very genuine. But what I liked is that the book doesn't just rely on that for laughs. There's actually more going on underneath. It's very clearly playing with older sci-fi ideas, especially those stories with all-female societies, and just flipping that around. And once you get past the surface level concept, it becomes much more about culture and perspective. Like how much of what you believe is just based on the environment you grew up in. Even isn't just exploring space, he's basically being forced to rethink how he sees the world. And there are also a few small connections to the earlier books, which I liked. Nothing major, but enough to make it feel like part of a bigger universe, without making it hard to follow if you read it on its own. In terms of pacing, it's definitely not the most action-heavy book. It's more about the characters and the situations they end up in. But for me, that was fine. It gave the story room to breathe a bit. So overall, I had a really good time with this one. It's not the biggest or most dramatic book in the series, but it's clever and it's a bit different. And it ended up being more interesting than I expected. And after that I started Consider Phoebus by Ian M. Banks, which is the first book in the Culture series. This one is one I've been meaning to read for a long time. Now I'm still very early into it, so it's definitely just first impressions. But even from the start, it feels very different from what I just read, where Even of Ephes was very focused and contained. This immediately feels much bigger and a bit more chaotic. You kind of get dropped into the middle of things without a lot of explanation, and you just have to go with it. And there's clearly a lot going on in the background, different factions, a larger conflict, but you're not getting everything spelled out right away. And I actually kind of like that. But at the same time, it does take a bit of getting used to. And the tone also feels a bit darker and more serious. You can tell this is going to be a more of a big idea-driven sci-fi story, where the world and the concepts are just as important as the characters. And right now I'm still in that phase where I'm figuring things out, how the story is structured, how the world works. So I don't really have a solid opinion yet, but I am intrigued. It definitely feels like one of those books where it might take a while to fully click, but if it does, it could be really good. So yeah, that's what where I'm at this week. Not a huge reading week, but still a couple of interesting books. One that surprised me and one that I'm still trying to get a handle on. Let me know if you read either of these, and let me know what you're reading, and I'll hope to see you again in the next video.